Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on Damaged, starring Samuel L. Jackson as a cop trying to track down a serial killer. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you. From the director of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 13. Available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. 14 posting hopefully tonight. All right. So Samuel L. Jackson is a cop, and he's looking for a killer. And it takes him to Scotland, where I hear he likes to golf. That's a thing for A-list celebrities. Yeah, I'll do the movie. Can we shoot some of it in Scotland? I like going there. Oh, okay. So apparently he tracks the killer down to Scotland, and it's some sort of ritual killing and serial killer and blah, 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 blah. We've been through this before. He finds all sorts of clues because, serial killers are smart enough to leave clues and lead the cops on a chase, but they're not smart enough to figure out not to kill people. But what are you going to do? It's pretty much got every serial killer trope you can possibly think of. Oh, what bridge is that? I'm going to guess that's in Scotland, too. Probably. I don't know. So I think Samuel L. Jackson character drinks, and that'll be his thing. It's called Damaged. One of the cops, I think his wife was killed by the serial killer, and then the other cops, like the old grizzled guy. April 12th. All right, let's see. Screenplay by Koji Steven Sakai and Gianni Capaldi and Paul Anlio. Took 3 people to write this movie. Directed by Terry McDonough. Well, at least the director didn't write it. Story by Paul Angelello and Gianna Capaldi. So they came up with the story, and then they worked probably with Koji Steven Sakai to do the screenplay, I'm guessing? Oh, yeah, because it's produced by Paul and Gianni. Okay. So probably the 2 producers came up with the story, possibly built around Samuel L. Jackson's love of going to Scotland to golf, I hear. And, put Samuel L. Jackson in it, have him come to Scotland, have most of the movie take place in Scotland, and there's a serial killer. That's kind of how you could build a movie. I mean, that doesn't make it bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the movie's bad based on that. You can build... I've done that before. The producer tells me what exactly he wants to do, where he wants to shoot the movie, and then I build the screenplay around the elements he wants to use. So it's not necessarily bad. Is it good? It looks like your standard cops chase serial killer movie. Something like 7, a little bit. Although there is one line in it that kind of threw me. It was Samuel L. Jackson's saying something like, standard cult killing. Like, standard, it's kind of, I think that's what he said. It was kind of a weird way to put that. It made it sound very routine. Oh, I hate when we get these serial killers that are cult killers. Yeah, it happens every Friday. The cult killers come out and they kill a bunch of people and use a bunch of symbols and stuff. And then we catch them because they're stupid and they keep leaving symbols behind. But that being said, if you like these kinds of movies, it's probably fine. Samuel L. Jackson, although I'm sick of seeing him, he's doing his Samuel L. Jackson thing. He's a little long in the tooth to be playing these games, but, as they say, black doesn't crack. So it's hard to tell what age he is. He's in his 70s. He wouldn't be running around solving mysteries as a cop, but he looks younger than that, so he looks okay. But, he's not a bad actor. Just kind of does the same thing, I think. This guy is sufficiently evil, I guess. as the cult leader who's already arrested and kind of in prison, probably directing a younger cult leader to murder people in strange and interesting ways and leaving clues. And I guess his wife is killed. Because then later he's looking at photos and crying, and yeah, there he is, looking very sad. Samuel L. Jackson is drinking. So, it's going to be one of these dark. It's not going to be a happy movie. It's going to be kind of a dark movie. So, first act, I think it actually starts out in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. I think they start the movie in Chicago, and then they somehow tie the murders into something in Scotland. Which, again, I mean, it's possible you could do it. The cops are looking at a case. They see another case overseas, and they have reason to believe the suspect, I don't know, moved overseas and then started killing over there. Maybe the murders stop after a while. Serial killers have been known to do that, right? There have been cases where serial killers, they're killing for a while, and then they go to jail on something else, and then the murders just stop, and nobody knows why. And they can't find them, they don't know why, and then things kind of fade for a while, and then 10 years later they start up again because he finally gets out and starts murdering people. Stuff like that. There are also cases where serial killers moved across the country, and then the murders stopped in one location and picked up in another location. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. I could see it working. I could see a way to work it. I used to dig these kind of movies with the serial killer, but that's back when serial killers were rare in movies. It was kind of a rare thing. It was kind of new. Not super new, but newish. And you'd be like, oh, wow, a serial killer. Wow, crazy. Now it seems like, I don't know, they've done that so many times. Like, what new thing, what new horror are you going to show me after Silence of the Lambs, skinned a guy to get away, and all the other horrors that you see, Buffalo Bill skinned people, and, oh no, that was the same movie. What's the other movie? Oh, God. I thought of it and then I forgot it. They're all kind of, Black Phone, I hear, is good. You got to come up with something new. This looks pretty much by the numbers. I mean, it's got a cult in it, but I don't know if cults are really resonating these days in terms of a plot point in a movie, right? You don't hear a lot about cults anymore. You used to. Like back in the 80s, during the Satanic Panic, oh my God, cults were all the rage. You were hearing about cult this, cult that. In the 70s in comic books and in movies, you'd see, oh, there's a satanic cult and it's in the woods and it killed a bunch of people. Like, this just feels like, okay, well, we'll make it a cult killing, I guess. But all that being said, would I watch it? I don't know. Not super high on my list. These movies are kind of sad, Sometimes if I really like the protagonist, I could get into it. I mean, I liked it in Silence of the Lambs. I liked Jodie Foster's character. That was good. I just liked the whole Silence of the Lambs deal. And even in Red Dragon, that was kind of cool because it was Hannibal Lecter. Again, played by a different actor. There's been a few others. One's based on real guys. But, the whole trope of a super smart guy who just murders people, it kind of feels overdone, kind of feels lazy at this point. Feels like, I don't know, they need something different. But let's see what the write-up says. Oh, wait, first the 3-act breakdown. So, first act finds the killer, I think it's Chicago. Second act goes to Scotland. Connects it to some sort of cult and some guy that's already in prison, maybe. Third act, they catch him, and it's very shocking and surprising after many murders in the second act. So that's pretty standard. All right, let's read this. Follows Dan Lawson, a Chicago detective who travels to Scotland to link up with Scottish detective Glenn Boyd following the resurgence of a serial killer whose crimes match an unsolved case that he looked into 5 years ago, 5 years previous in Chicago. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, sure. You know, these movies also work really well, I think, as period pieces too. Few people remember, but Elliot Ness, the guy who took down Al Capone, he, towards the end of his career, was trying to hunt down a serial killer. He was known, I think he was known as the Torso Killer, because they found a torso, but they couldn't find the rest of the victim. And then there was some taunting in the press about that. And they say it's what drove Elliot Ness to drink and eventually ruined his career. And I don't think he ever caught him. So that to me would be a slightly more effective setting for a serial killer movie, simply because back then there wasn't a lot known about serial killers. And, you know, they would be not using the sort of modern techniques that seem to catch these guys, I guess, after they've killed a bunch of people. There's one in Atlantic City that's never been solved. They found the bodies of 4 prostitutes in AC, but they never figured out who did it. So they're pretty sure a serial killer killed them, but you know, it just kind of, they almost caught a guy, but then it turned out he was not the guy, and then the murders continue to go unsolved, and that was mentioned in book 1 of the Pineys. See how I tied that into the Pineys book? Would I see this? I wouldn't go to the theaters for it. I mean, if I was on a date and my date wanted to see this movie, I'd be fine. I'd see it. I'd actually be kind of impressed that she wanted to see something this entertaining. But that being said, I've seen it a million times. It looks okay. I don't think it would be uninteresting, but you know, I'd probably be looking at my watch and late in the second act, going, "All right, we know who did it. just kill, you know, capture them, or you know, as a final, have the final fight scene, have the final revelation. Let's, you know, if I watched it on streaming or something, I'd probably be forwarding through it, unless it was very well paced. A little difficult to tell from the trailer if the pacing's there. It looks a little slow to me. But that could just be the trailer. Maybe it's fast-paced. I don't know. So, yeah. It's called Damaged. Because all the characters are damaged and the serial killer does damage. And then you're going to go see it. April 12th. That's it for me, Tony D. and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more base takes. If you can find a more base take, I say, take it. Check me out on Saturday at Nerd Force Fan Fest. Got it. In Glassboro, New Jersey at the Marriott from 10 to 4 on Saturday. Hope to see you there. We'll see you tomorrow.